Hey, how's it going? This is take two of this, well, take three actually, but take two only took about a minute and a half. I didn't waste 40 minutes in there messing around trying to make a decent video, only to find out that the format I can't use with my phone anymore. Can, it, can any more irritating mechanical things happen? Please don't. I'm so unhappy I said that. So I'm just gonna try and do this as best I can. It keeps fouling up on me. The first time was great, and I'm not happy I couldn't use it. So you're getting this irritated. This is for entertainment. It's just opinion commentary, a review of a show. It's not the end of the world. It's just my opinion. There will be spoilers. I only review shows and movies I like, and I only give good reviews of those. And so let's get on with it. Today I want to talk about the Tomorrow War. It stars Chris Pratt and Betty Gilpin, mainly. It also has J.K. Simmons, and I will add the cast members in the info box below this video when I am done making it. So the Tomorrow War is about Dan Forrester. He's I believe, ex-Marine, and he's a vet at any rate. And he's left the service and is a school teacher when we meet him. But he wants to do and be more. He's very into science, and we see him not get one job at the start of the movie and the action, actually. So, what seems to be, or what appears to the people that it happens all over in the movie to be an alien attack actually isn't. It's more like alien attack adjacent. What it is, though, are people from their future who have not been born yet, who have come back to their past to recruit some people from their present to come back with them to the past, because there is that alien attack adjacent thing happening, and they are running out of people, so they need reinforcements. And actually, I spoiled a lot of it the first time I did this, and I don't want to do that this time. I'll say that it's a time travel movie, so there is some sort of non-linear going back and forth in time, but it's not as complicated or hard to follow as many of them. In fact, it's really easy to follow. And the story is, I gotta say, when I first watched it, I wasn't super impressed with the whole film. I did watch it and I did enjoy it. And like I said, it was a good thing to have there to watch on the 4th. We got a weird tradition of watching war and killy stuff for our holiday. Wouldn't mind seeing that go too, because that's weird. Why are we celebrating death stuff? What's celebratory about that, the way it happens? All right, don't let me digress all over the place. Just reel it back in. So, they only recruit a certain type of individual, and initially, Forrester is not one of them, but it's interesting what they do is they will go once they're recruited to, I guess, the recruiting center and get outfitted, and they'll be called when their time comes up. But they get a gauntlet put on them, and it's like a tracker and a communications device and a monitor of the person's body for when they go to the future through this portal to help the future people. And the people that come back are people that have not been born yet. So I think they're like a couple of generations out. And the people that they asked to go there are older people, which you wouldn't think they would want for recruits, but it's for a reason, and it's temporally temporally related, time related. And it makes sense within the story, but like I said, I'm not going to tell everything like I did the last time. I'll leave more for you to discover on your own. Um, but his time comes up and he goes, and what happens in his time is you're gone for 7 days, and I guess it's that in the other time that you're gone too. I think it works out that you're there longer than 7 days, or it feels longer, or something. Because it's pretty gnarly when you get to the other place. And oh, I thought it was pretty cool the way they grabbed the older people, because the way that we are now is we're so complacent and set in our ways and so content and lazy, except for the people that volunteer to go fight wars. You know, the majority of us are are not that way, don't have that drive. And then when you get older, you're older. You don't want to get hurt. You don't want to exert yourself. You're just starting to feel, when you're like in your 40s or you're 40, you're just starting to feel everything break down. You're just starting to get an idea of like, whoa, I don't want to move around too much. And I don't want to like hurt everything. Or you're out of shape like some of the people are. Or you've never been a soldier like almost all of them weren't. Um, But the thing is, once you got that thing on you and you can't, it's not like what are those devices that they give you for home arrest that people get out of all the time? I don't think you get out of this gauntlet thing. I think it actually goes into your literal flesh. So it's not like strapped on around you. But I think that once these people get these things on them and you're going, there's no if, ands, or buts about it, because it is like if they don't deal with the threat there, then it's just going to come backward and decimate all of the human life. Or, well, I'll just leave it at that. It'll decimate the human life, and they don't want that to happen. So once those people get those gauntlets on them, and then they get to the place that they have to go and fight, it's like they have to decide, like, what are you gonna do? You gonna just stand around and die, or are you gonna like finally take responsibility for saving the life to come on your planet? And so you know it, under any other circumstances, if they didn't have the gauntlet and the going to the war, how many of them do you think would have done it? It's like they removed the option to object and to decline. You just have to go and you just have to do it. And so they, live up to it. They rise to the challenge. And it's kind of heartening to watch. It's like, all right, at least in this context, we're not just letting everything go to hell and just giving up. Which leads me to my next point. There are monsters. As I said, it's alien adjacent. So I will just call the opponent monsters. And the monsters are, in my opinion, a metaphor for like all of us adult humans that have been around for the past 30 years, especially those of us that can organize efforts to have done something about climate change. I think that the monsters are a metaphor for our procrastination in not starting to deal with our issues that we have right now that are literally hurting and killing people, and it's been building up to a fatal crescendo for 30 years. Like, the weather's been getting increasingly damaging and powerful. And where I live now, I'm from Southern California, so I grew up in hot temperatures. I won't say I ever got used to it, because I've always hated it, and I left and I moved far to the north. And unfortunately, in the time that I've been here, this particular last time that I came here to stay, which has been 14 years, I have seen the weather change significantly. Like, I came here to live in a rainforest. It does not hardly rain the way it used to anymore at all, and it hasn't. It's just been gradually drying, gradually warming, and I've just been able to watch it happen. And you know, I have to include myself in that number of people that were procrastinating and not doing anything. Although, you know, I was always aware of the problem. I always did what little I can, like pick up my trash and not leave a mess and do all of the good like things that a single person can do. But if it, we just haven't ever seriously addressed the problem, like taking it seriously, and now it's killing us. And that's how all of our problems are piling up. It's like we got issues with the way we treat our people, but I mean, what does it take for us to notice them and do something about it? They're already stepping across bodies to get out of their buildings in various cities because the homeless people, they get mad at them, but it's like they're homeless because they don't have any money. Like, you think if they could have saved their homes, they wouldn't have done that? Like, you think they lost everything and they now have money to go take a bus someplace to get out of your way? Like, what is wrong with our minds? You are literally stepping over a problem that it's not going to get better because you want to ignore it and you want to get mad at it and you want to blame it and you want to not deal with it. Like, that's what we do. We got to stop them. We're just going to kill ourselves and each other with this neglect. But that dynamic, I think, is what the war with the monsters represents. And that may not make sense from what I've told you, and you may watch the movie for a while and not understand why I would have said that. But once you get, I'd say about three-quarters of the way through, you get it. You get why why they are a metaphor for me for those things I mentioned. It'll make perfect sense. But nutshell, don't leave till tomorrow, which you could do today. Otherwise, the monsters will get you. More or less, that is the deal. But there are a lot of plot twists. I mean, there's some pretty good stuff, and it really, like, I was gonna watch the movie again, but I gotta admit, like, my attention span is just not what it could be. I couldn't watch it again. I couldn't keep paying attention. And not that it was boring. It's me. My attention is just all over the place. I'm sure it's going to pass. It's just a momentary thing that's happening, but it does make it kind of difficult to do this and be coherent and know what I'm talking about. So I hope this is acceptable. Is there anything else I wanted to mention? Check my notes. Sorry for the dead air. Uh, I think I more or less covered everything I wanted to say. I don't want to keep going with this for too long. So it was enjoyable. I'm glad I watched it. I hear they're making a sequel, or they're thinking about it just today. I saw that news in Deadline, the entertainment site. Um, oh, the other thing was is that I just thought it was kind of funny that I wasn't planning to watch this. I didn't even know about it until a couple of days before it aired. I just thought it was funny that my last video was entitled "Politics in Hollywood." Like, there's a question mark there, and it was basically um, just me kind of opining about how, for years, I've heard Republicans complain about they're edged out in Hollywood. Like, no one likes them. They don't get any respect. Like, there's all this can't. And I don't know what the hell those people are talking about. Most of the action movies, and even some that are not action movies, like that space opera type deal that I'm quite fond of, are the the stories are penned by Republicans, directors, producers, all kinds of actors are Republicans. Bruce Willis, Die Hard, The Fifth Element. There's so many movies of his. I really like Bruce Willis as an action hero. And of course now he's old, but I've liked him for a long time as an action hero. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Um, Seen lots of his movies and liked them. Seen several of Sylvester Stallone's, not as much of a favorite, but in the 70s when the Rambos and the Rockies were coming out, oh yeah, I was there for those. So it was very exciting. It was an exciting time for cinema. But yeah, I mean, Chris Pratt, the girl that was in, or the young woman that was in Star Wars, or The Mandalorian, rather. I should have found out her name. I'm not going to add her name because she's not in this. Cara something Italian. And my deal is like, as long as it doesn't seep into the show or movie, their opinion, which it shouldn't because there's a script. And if it's like a right wing script with the kind of themes that would attract like a Christian conservative, it's not going to attract me. So I won't even be watching that. But they're in plenty of other stuff that I would call mainstream in the sense of it's not like based on anybody's politics off screen, which is nice. um, that's where it should stay. And so anyway, this movie, The Tomorrow War, Chris Pratt is a Republican or a right leaning fellow. And I don't know what he said, but I know on Twitter a couple of weeks ago or a month ago or something very recently, he said something and got all the lefties all underwear all up in his knot. So, I don't care about that. If I'm going to see a movie, I want to see the stuff the script is about. And you usually do. So it was just funny that I did that video before of talking about the Republicans that are really all over the place and not just in Hollywood movies. They're like everywhere. I don't know what they're talking about. They're canceled. It's like they're more visible than everybody and anybody. They're on broadcast stuff. They're on online stuff, all kinds of platforms. Everybody can hear them. In fact, you can't stop. You can't shut them up. That's not canceled. Homeless is canceled. Um, you know, I'm not going to go into a whole rant, but you get the gist. The poors, those are the more kind of canceled people. If you're going to go by your own definitions, it's just been opposite world crazy for these people. They just say stuff and it's not even what they mean. And they don't even know half the time. Like Jordan Klepper, so good at scaring them. Like he'll go right in the middle of their rallies and get them talking to him. And I guess because he's a big white dude, he can do that. But he gets them to just admit to the stupidest shit, and they don't even hardly. Sometimes they get what he's gotten them to say, and that it's dumb. But usually they don't. And it's like, is he that good, or are they that dumb, or is it both? I don't know. But I'll leave that to him. I like fiction stuff. I mean, I like other stuff, but this is not my platform to talk about it. I talk about it other places. Anyway, I guess I got all of that out of my system and covered everything I wanted to cover. So that's The Tomorrow War. I enjoyed it. I think you would too if you are into space opera kind of things. Thank you and good night.